Hey, it's Curly Haired Hero, and today we'll be doing Heroes in Dear Days. They've gotten some updates directly and indirectly, mainly directly in set 9, so we're going to go over it today. It's going to be somewhat similar to the list that I talked about before, but not exactly because I never went over the bold source. But anyways, here's the list. Let's jump into the fight. Alright, so we've got ourselves a pretty decent starting hand. Our opponent has the Medial starter. Oh my god, it's actually Medial. Wow. This was gonna be the first deck that I was gonna go over for Dear Days because I spent so much time trying to make it work, but instead I ended up doing Luke here. So that's interesting. Let's go ahead and ride here. So like I mentioned in my video, what you want to do here is you want to draw first because you have as many bases in your deck as possible at that point, so you have a higher chance of drawing into one before you use the Go for Heroes skill here to, just add one to base. We pretty much have guaranteed 3 bases by turn 4, considering we managed to start with one in our hand. We got one from our grade 1, and then now we also have ourselves the Abent Robust here, which is a card that I talked about a lot in my previous deck profile when I covered this in like the actual TCG. And what Abent Robust does is just basically on place counterblast, search your deck for set order that you already have, and add it to your hand. Which just means, we can easily get our base, which we don't need, since we just checked the last base that we need. So we can very easily just discard the Robust, maybe. We'll have to see. We'll see how this turn goes. Because we have a couple of different plays that we can try out. Whether or not one of them is more useful than the other, we'll have to wait and see. So for Medial, I actually don't use the Medial grade 1 because I think she basically is similar to the Keter stuff where it's just call the top card, and if it's a trigger or and then reveal it, and if you see a trigger you rest it, which is kind of obnoxious, but also I think it just goes back on top of the deck. So they're gonna check the over trigger, which is gonna help them a lot in this game. Medial really needs that power buff to the entire board, so them getting this on turn 2 kind of strong. I know I've spent a bunch of time just talking about my opponent and not so much my actual deck here, but Astrid here I feel like is not the best just because she requires counterblast, and this deck just devours counterblast like it's fucking Cheerios. It's no joke. Oh, but we'll see if they can make it work. I'm gonna get the critical trigger, which in most cases would be good because that would stop the rush here, especially considering this was 7 and 8, making it just 15 short of my 18 here, but 100 million will make all that not matter. We're just gonna have to go ahead and I guess take this. I could guard. I could guard, but I don't know if I want to lose my PG, especially considering Medial's Medial, and they can later on swing with a crit and stuff. So I think we want to save our PG for now. Because I still have to figure out what I'm going to discard. It's probably just going to be the Abent Robust, even though he's a great attacker. With all these bases in our hand, it's kind of rough. We do get a promo that, presumably for English, comes out next month. When I'm uploading this, we will know already if it's come out. But it helps out a lot just in situations like this, because you want to get as many bases as soon as possible. And the fact that they then sit in your hand, you can only play one per turn, really hurts you a lot. But there is the new promo hero that actually lets you just straight up play your bases from drop. So you can actually use them to discard for ride, which helps out massively. It sounds like a very minor thing, but trust me, it's huge! So let's go ahead and actually... They have no retire, so let's go ahead and use Fire Hero's skill here to put something into... to scout something, and then draw a card. We actually got the other card that we use here, the Versatile Assembler, which finally came out in Dear Days for set 9. We finally got it in English for set 11 as a box topper, but it lets us Soul Blast, look at the top 7 for set order, which we don't really need right now, but we can still kind of do it just for the sake of doing it. I don't have any heroes and drops, so there's no point in going into the Bolt Source right now. I don't really know if I want to play this right this second, but I guess let's just do it. Let's go ahead and Soul Blast. Typically you should be Soul Blasting out like your heroes, but I tend to not care too much when it comes to Soul Blasting and kind of just go for it. If they like damage deny us, it's kind of okay. I don't see myself calling out too many, so I don't think I need 2 Bolt Sources here. We're gonna kill out this grade 1. This grade 1 can let them manipulate the stack, so we don't want them to be able to do that. Lean is kind of okay in this deck, because she's just, you know, Medio checks before battle, so Lean is kind of like late on that part, right? Because you have to reveal the top card, you know, main phase, which kind of sucks. But Lean is only in battle phase, and by the time, you know, it switches over your turn, your opponent has already attacked you, unless you see, like, you know, the over trigger and you want to check it on your turn, then you would have to, like, guard, and it's just, Lean is kind of a weird pick in this deck. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work out, even though you think it would, right? But not really. They're going to be able to check the heal trigger here, which for Medial is pretty good, because they can actually revive stuff from drop. But managed to get in some decent aggression. I would have liked if that 3rd damage stuck, but it's fine. They have the Phyllis, so it's not like it matters in terms of like trying to damage deny here. They're going to lose the top 3. Well, they're going to discard 2 of the top 3 and put 1 on top of their deck. We're not going to be able to see what it is. They got a lot of their units out, which means they might just be checking hot fire when this drive check comes through. But we also haven't seen their main restand target in the Sunflower Girl, like Elisa or Elise or something like that. So let's see what the top card is. They're going to go ahead and reveal it. It's going to be a draw trigger, which means they can call something and counter charge. They don't really have a lot of good call targets. They'll probably just call out maybe this or this. More likely this, right? Unless they call something to immediately put into Soul, which I don't know if that's worth it. You already have a draw trigger on top. You don't want the draw trigger? Alright, whatever, man. You do you. Yeah, and then they use the skill of the cute Rainbow Girl to counterblast and call her out. And sort of just a massive board here of grade 1s, which doesn't entirely matter thanks to the power of the overtrigger. Everything is just 10k, so it is pretty strong regardless. You know? Does this get power twice? Oh, it does get power twice. Nice, yeah. So I usually have Phyllis get only 5k once because I don't play these girls. But, you know, you're just out of so much counterblast now, and you don't have a counter charger aside from, you know, Medial's skill to actually counter charge. So they're gonna keep it here. Okay, so they're gonna keep the draw trigger on top. I have. This is kind of rough, to be honest. I think we'll just take this. All of these attacks are gonna be huge, thanks to the overtrigger, and then this Phyllis column is like massive 53 or something like that. So I gotta kind of hope that I hit defensive here to make things a little harder, or I should say easier for me to guard. Heal trigger wouldn't be half bad either. But we're just gonna get absolutely nothing as our Dionos goes to the damage zone here. This is gonna be what, 48? 46. Yeah, I might just have to take this as well and maybe just PG this, regretfully. That overtrigger really turned the tide super quick. We're gonna get a critical trigger here. Fortunately, I don't think it's gonna matter because we're gonna go up to 20. This here is going to be 43-53. We can guard with our shield hero, and I both go to 35 with him. And then after that, it's kind of rough. Not gonna lie. I can take this. I just have a decent hand. I think we might just take this. Go to 5. Unfortunately, it's just these numbers are too big and I have 2 bricks in my hand. 3 bricks technically, if you count the Persona Ride. So we are going to get the heal trigger, which is great. I would have hated to draw into that. Let's go ahead and heal off the 4L there so we don't have her in damage and we can actually recycle her with our Bolt Source. Let's see what we draw here. It's going to be another Bold Source, which is kind of useful. I wish I didn't have a 4L. I don't want to discard that. I don't see them retiring our board, so I guess it would make sense to get rid of this. There's no point in retiring their stuff, they're just gonna call it back. Even though that would be expensive for them, but they don't really have an impressive board. It's just the fact that the overtrigger makes everything hit for really good numbers. Unfortunately, we're only gonna hit the 4L from the top here, which kinda sucks. We can try and enable this guy, but I don't think that's really worth it, to be honest. I mean, I guess we could, and do we have ourselves something we can put? We have the Counter Blast, I guess we might as well go for it. So we're gonna go ahead and discard the Bolt Stores here, use the skill of our base to rest itself, and discard a card. You're gonna call out the, does she have to be in front row? She has to be in front row, let me see. Okay, no, she just retires one. Okay, that's fine. Let's put her here, I guess. Now, since something was played by card ability, our versatile assembler here is actually going to get the ability to boost. We're going to go ahead and use the skill of the Hammer Hero here to just retire the Astrid. And then finally use the skill of the Bold Source, who says when he's discarded for the skill of the base, you can counterblast with 1, call him out, over here. And then I can actually put something from drop into our base, which is pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and switch this out around and go ahead and play out the 4L here. Typically, you know, you would rather have the Bolt Source just because it gets a little bit more power than the Hammer Hero, but it's just what we're going to have to do here. So let's just go ahead and swing in here. Good old 25. Of course, that is just a 1 trigger to guard. That trigger looks crazy good just because there's like nothing on it. So it's just super full art. I'm so jealous that I used it. I'm an idiot. Cool! So now I don't get 4 attacks and I just wasted it. So the 4L here has the ability that says when your Vanguard attacks, you can Soul Blast, rest her to switch one of the units in a column. But because I'm an idiot and I boosted with her, I'm not going to be able to get the skill. But we do at least get the critical trigger here, which, you know, will even out the odds for us, as well as just give us something to guard with in hand. Hopefully we can get another. No. It is at least 5k shield, which is something. They're gonna check the front trigger here, which I guess is fine. That maybe means they won't be checking it on their turn, right? And they're gonna go ahead and just leave the Phyllis, right? We have at least 40k here that we can swing in with. I can't believe I did that. That would have... I mean, it wouldn't have been a massive attack, to be honest. It just would have been another 25. But, yeah, that's kind of yikes. So they don't have the Elise, and they only have 1 soul, so you can't use the Phyllis here, so they would have to counterblast 2 to use the Medio's skill, unless they Persona Ride, which they don't. So that at least helps out a lot, because that would have been really big as well. They're going to go ahead and use the skill of the grade 1 to put itself in soul, look at the top card, and choose whether or not they put it, I think, either to bottom or top. It went so fast, I didn't get to see. I think they just put it on bottom. Then they're going to use the Phyllis here to Soul Blast 2, now that they have those soul, in order to make the skill of this counter blast 1, and also give her 5k. So now they're going to counterblast 1, reveal the top card of their deck. It's actually going to be a normal unit. They can draw it, and then they can call something from drop, and it's going to get an additional critical. This time I'm assuming they'll call the grade 2, but I don't know why they would call grade 1 in the back and give it a crit. Alright, well, I guess misplay for misplay, right? They messed up with their grade 1, I messed up with my grade 1. It's all Gucci. They also have the skill of the Astrid that they can bring back here. Don't really think it's worth it. Just play something from your hand. Surely you have something in your hand that you can throw out here, right? No? Okay. I'm actually just going to use the skill of the grade 1 to put it back into soul again. And look, top card, put it at the bottom of the deck. There we go. Yeah, I don't know if that was really worth it. I feel like the crit would have been cooler. Yeah, it does give 5k to another unit. The crit probably would have worked out better, especially considering you don't have much. They're playing like sort of medieval, like they were playing like Hex Orb or something like that, just manipulating the top cards in the deck, which is interesting. So they saw the top card, put it to Soul, and then they looked at the other top card, but they couldn't do anything with it. Or the next top card, I should say. So now they're also locked only to 3 attacks, so they didn't get their main re-standard, which is a bit unfortunate, but either way, these are 3 pretty sizable attacks. I'm really hoping they don't check a trigger here, but yeah, there's only so much that I can do. We're gonna go ahead and not use our base. Go ahead and use this. Since they don't have retire, like I said, we'll discard the foil here. And PG this. And hope that we can take one of the hits and guard one of the other ones. They're going to hit the draw trigger. So this Phyllis column is already 46. This column here is 48. I was going to say I have to guard one of these attacks. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do any of that. So now this is 58. So I have to somehow guard that. I just barely get by. Because I do have a shield hero here. And thankfully I have a counterblast, so it's not like they can counterblast deny me either. But yeah, whoo man. Alright. Let's go ahead and Soul Blast out the Gopher hero. Let's go ahead and rest our base. We can only do this once because the other base is rested. Let's go ahead and play this out. So that's going to give us a nice buff there. We're going to play this out as well, which is going to buff us up to 43. And then we can play this, 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 and finally this. So just barely did not get demolished here. That's like, what, 6 cards I had to use? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. Jesus. And then thankfully the other color doesn't have a crit, so we can just go ahead and take this. Man, I wish when I played Medial I got all these triggers. maybe that is the way to play it. Like, fuck the restand and all that stuff. Just play it like if you were playing Hex Orb. Unfortunately, I am gonna hit the over trigger now. That would have really turned the tide for me if I could have checked it on my turn here. We draw into a PG at least, so that's something. So we would have damage checked the PG, and we still would have ended up drawing this for turn. So, all right. So we have the base. Let's just go ahead and activate that. Finally, got 3 bases out here. Unfortunately, I don't have any more counterblast that I can use, so I really have to hit something good out of here. And of course, I hit 3 shield heroes. All right. Well, at least I can put those, you know, out of deck. They are gonna make me soul charge, so hopefully I don't hit too many triggers from this. There's a crit. And the next one is gonna be base. All right, that's fine. Losing a base is fine. We already have 3. I don't really care too much about a third. We are going to just have to do this. Remember not to boost this time. I call this out. Go to battle here. Hope that they have some crazy phantom hand, and hope we can do our best here. And then I take the first hit here. Thankfully, we have some pretty sizable attacks, minus the shield hero column. They're gonna hit the front trigger, which is really gonna suck. But it's just how things be. Thankfully, if they don't have a PG, we might be able to steal out the game here, because we still have, I think, a good number of triggers left in deck. We have the power of our Vanguard here, swinging in with a big crit. But they did have a PG, that's right, they checked it. But we still might get lucky here. We have 4 attacks. We have 2 of them left. If we can just check the nuts here. That's not really the nuts. At least I drew into another draw trigger, so that helps. Let's power up this column here. Hopefully they did the math wrong and think this is 10 power, but 10 extra power, because this guy can't boost right now. But unfortunately, it's not going to do much for us. Let's go ahead and use the foil here. I guess Soul Blast out our base and rest her. in order to switch these two, which I should have done last game, or last turn I should say, but not that it would have really mattered immensely, I don't think. Thankfully they are at 5, this is at least a card to guard each, right? It's not just like an intercept or anything like that. So, you know, it's something, I guess. But we'll just have to do this. We do have 2 shield heroes in base. We have ourselves here a shield hero on Guardian Circle. So we can actually survive this as long as they don't check like crit. Even then, I think we might be okay. Let's take a look at what our trigger count is looking like. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 triggers out, which means we have 5 left in deck. Our deck is 9 cards, so half our deck is triggers. I think most of them are also critical triggers, because I have 1 heal, 2 heal. 3 heal. I have 1 heal left in deck also. So one of them is a heal. I think 2 of them are draw. One of them is a draw trigger. One of them is a heal, and then the other 3 should be critical triggers. So there's the card that they've been searching out for the entire game. And they did manage to reveal the normal unit, so now it's going to get a crit. So now they also have 4 attacks. Thankfully this is only going to be 25, so it's not massive on the first swing, but afterwards it's going to be a massive 43, which I can guard. But yeah, we just have to deal with everything else on board right now. And I do have the PG that I managed to nab, and I have this as well, right? So this brings me up to 38. I can use it to guard this second attack here. Oh, they're actually going to do that first. Okay. Let's go ahead and not use those. Let's go ahead and use this, plus this should be enough. Right? This gives me plus 15, which either is enough or it matches exactly. Do we want to throw out the Bubble Mine here? Let's throw out the Bubble Mine. As much as I would like to be able to swing with a crit next turn, I might just have to let that not be guaranteed here. Thankfully, afterwards, this would just be 25. It gets 5k when attacks a greater than Vanguard. So I don't have to worry about that too much here. Do I just want to PG this? I can kind of guard everything else, but I don't know if I want to. Just because these attacks are going to be so big. I could... So what I could do is play it safe here. Do this. They don't have Overtrigger, obviously. Do that again. I still have 5k that I can guard from base with. So it's at least a 1 to pass, I think, or 2 to pass. It's 2 to pass, right? Yeah. Which I hope they don't check any triggers because they shouldn't have too many left here. Yeah. So I can use base and the draw trigger in hand to guard this attack here. And then I have PG if I really needed to. They are also running crazy low on resources, so if I can just survive this turn, so we're gonna have to use this. There we go. Whew, almost ran out of time there, but thankfully we did not. And now it just matters what they're gonna do here. No matter what, I think I have to PG it. If they go here, yeah, I kind of need him, and I have no way to get him. So we just have to PG this and hope we can draw into something that can hit, or our last Persona ride. Because yeah, we really need this column here. We can try and call out the Forial. She'll at least be 15, and this will become a booster, the Versatile Assembler over here. So we can just discard whatever it is that we draw. And we do have the Soul Blast, so it's actually going to be the Bulba Mine. Yeah, so that's what we're just going to have to do. We're going to have to use our last card from our base here. We can't get a crit, unfortunately. We could have gotten it if we played the Bulba Mine. I don't know which is more important. That might have been a bit better of a play, to be honest, because I could have put Bulba Mine here, so we're in for 18, gotten the counter charge, and still gotten the 4 attacks. Maybe a misplay there, we'll see. So 225 to 23, and then just a basic 13 with potentially big crit, or big trigger pressure coming out of it. I think that might have been the better play if I could have gotten the crit on this, but we'll see how this goes. They're just gonna do a 1 to pass here. Oh, okay. They're gonna do a 2 to pass. All right. Oof, I know my odds here. Oh, I have so many cards in hand. I think I have to just go for it here. I have pretty good odds, and oh, God. Oof. All right. It helps to know your deck really well and count your triggers. So we're just gonna steal that. Yeah, I think the better play would have been to play the Bulba Mine, boost with the versatile Summoner, put it to Soul counter charge, and I could have gone with the crit pressure. So they couldn't even have done that right now. They would have had to PG. So maybe this was the better play actually in hindsight, because instead of PGing, they went and did this. And do the 2 to pass. So maybe that was it. I don't know. But that was a good fight. Not PG, that over trigger really screwed us early up. Okay, so here's the deck. I didn't expect that fight to take so long here, but it's somewhat standard. We're playing 4 of the Unite Dinos. You know, he gives 5k to all your front row B heroes, and also when he swings in, you can counterblast, get 15k, and if you have 3 bases, he gets a crit. We're playing 4 of the shield hero. If you have a hero Vanguard and you have a base, he gets plus 10k shield, so he's 15k shield, and when he's scouted, you know, put into your base, you soul charge 1. We're only playing 2 of the hammer hero just to make space for everything else. She gets 5k if you have a base, and also you can counterblast 1 on place to retire 1 of your opponent's front row in the same column as her. We have the wired hero in the ride deck. We don't play any more copies of this. I don't really like this card at all because its skill is just you scout a hero from your hand and put it into base. You can only do this on your second turn because it's a Vanguard skill, and then it has a skill where if it moved during the battle it gets 5k, but like everyone else gets more power, so there's no worth in playing it. We've got ourselves the Boltsaurus here, who when discarded for the cost of the base, you can counterblast, call him out, and then put a hero from your drop into your base, and then also if you have 2 bases he gets plus 10k, so combined with your Vanguard he comes plus 15 for 25, 35 on Persona. We have 2 copies of the Versatile Assembler on place, so blast like a top 7, search for a set order from those 7, add it to hand, and if something was played by card ability, this gets boost. Combination with the Event Robust, they allow us to get our 3rd copy of our base, or just our base is general. We have only 1 guaranteed way to get 1 base. Other than that, we just have to draw or to use skills. On place, counterblast 1, search your deck for up to 1 set order, and if you have the same set order in your order zone, you can add it to hand, and then when you attack, if you have 2 of the same set orders, this guy gets 10k. So he's sort of like a backup attacker if we need him. We just play 2 Bulba Mine here just because, you know, we have a lot of counterblast, mainly from the Event Robust, so just make sure that we can, you know, have a little bit more flexibility. It gives us the option to retire with the Hammer Hero as well. Then we have the Direct Florio here, who's our multi-tag enabler. We play 4 of her just in case she gets retired, or, you know, anything happens. But back row center, if your Vanguard attacks and it's a B hero, you Soul Blast, grade 3 B hero, you Soul Blast, rest her to then take 2 units and switch their position in a column. I don't think it has to be in the same column. Okay, it doesn't have to be in the same column. I wasn't sure if you can just crisscross like Aqua Force. 3 PGs here. The right deck is just gonna be the Gopher here, Architect Basil, who just says on place Vanguard, search your deck for 1 base, add it to hand, and then when it boosts, it gets 5k. I hate the fact that it's only on boost. If it was just on boost or like on attack or just in general, this got 5k, I would actually main deck this, but since it's only on boost, we don't. And then the trigger lineup is 7 crits, 4 draws, I should say, it's just so you can make sure you get your bases. 1 of the Elder Breath, because it is a, you know, massive nuke war crime, and then 2 of each heal trigger. You can get your triggers pretty easily in this deck because you draw and you thin out the deck, so having the capability to have the extra shield for stuff like against Eva or stuff that restands like the Overlord and stuff like that, it comes in really clutch, especially this one against Eva, right? You can use this against PBO as well. and then 1 Elementario. Yeah, that's the list. Hope that you guys remember not to misplay like I did. It is a little bit annoying in Deer Days because every time you guard, it asks you if you want to guard from base first every single time. So just keep that in mind. But in any case, hope this video helps. Till next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Play Vanguard and have yourself a damn good one.